Hi guys, long time no see. It is Tuesday, but we're gonna pretend it's Monday. And this week on the Pagan Perspective, we're talking about smudging, candle magic, blessings, and a couple of other things. These questions are actually from Cynthia Louise 52, who is, as you all know, Feather, our substitute. And she just gave us a couple of topics, threw them out there for us to cover that are really simple, easy topics that everyone should know about, but a lot of people don't have a lot of experience with. So the first one being candle magic and how we use it in our practice. Me personally, when I first started my practice, candle magic was very appealing simply because it's very easy to do. You don't have to be an Excel student to figure out how candle magic works or how it works for you. When I first started my practice, I used it a lot. It's very appealing because it's very simple and it doesn't require a lot of pieces, and it's a good place to start for a beginner. Um, so, but now I don't quite use it as often. Usually now when I do a spell or a manifestation, it's a lot of mental pictures, burning things, and things of that nature. But I do still, have a little bit of candle magic that I do. One of the most recent ones that I did was when I moved into my new apartment. I went out and I bought a yellow candle. Excuse the throat and everything. I'm still getting over this cold from being in Chicago. Yes, so I bought a yellow candle, 7-day burning one. It was in a big black glass jar and everything. And I burned that every single day while I was in my apartment. As soon as I cleaned out my apartment and got it smudged and everything like that. And that was simply just as a means of bringing in positive, happy energy, especially because getting the apartment was very stressful. The reason for getting the apartment is very stressful. So I didn't do anything special, just every morning when I did my, morning little routine, I would light the candle while putting intent in it with, happy, positive thoughts, thinking about how awesome my place is, how it's going to make my life better and everything. So that's the most recent thing I've done with candle magic. Usually if I turn to candle magic, it's for sending out energy and for healing purposes. The next question was, how do we do blessings? And it's not something I really want to talk about too much simply because I haven't done a lot of blessings. And I think everyone's idea of what a blessing is different from person to person. When I think of blessings, I think of I go back to my Christian upbringing with blessings being something for like new houses, new babies, for weddings, and things like that. But I've seen people do blessings for their pets and things like that. I have not personally blessed anything of mine, unless you want to consider like what I was talking about with the candle magic. Lighting that yellow candle for my place. If you want to consider that a blessing, I guess some people might. But I personally have not blessed anything of my own. So I don't really know what to say about it or anything like that. I'll leave it for one of the other Pagan Perspective members to talk more about. I'm not a good source for that as of now. How do we ground and center ourselves before a ritual? So usually if I'm getting ready for a full moon ritual, new moon ritual, one of the Sabbats, anything like that, my first thing to get ready for that is I usually take a shower before I head out for the for that day or for the ritual, with the intent of just kind of cleaning everything off from that day and putting my mind into it. It's more a ritual. I have a ritual to get ready for a ritual, basically. And one of those things is to take a shower and just kind of, I put on new clothes and everything, and just because I don't want to have anything negative or anything that I could have possibly picked up throughout that day. I don't want to bring that into ritual with me. I don't do separate grounding or anything before my ritual because we grounded in ritual, kind of when we set up circle and everything. And it's it's just one of those things where I don't like to be repetitive with my things. If if I'm going to ground in a ritual, I'm not going to ground before ritual. That's just me. I don't like to be repetitive, and it takes way too much energy. It takes way too much time, and it's draining. I don't want to do it. The last topic is, how do we smudge? So we already know that hopefully you already know that there are many different ways to smudge. The most common being with a smudge stick made of sage or rosemary or something of that nature. We all have seen the smudge sticks. I'm sure most of us use them and have many of them. So that's the most common, is obviously through some kind of smoke like incense, smudge stick, etc. But we can also smudge ourselves through sound. That can be clapping your hands, it can be a bell, it can be a rattle, anything like that. You can also smudge with energy, and I really like to do that personally, especially ever since I got my Reiki 1 attunement. I really enjoy being able to smudge people with my hands, and I usually do when I go to my community's new moon rituals and full moon rituals and everything. I'm usually the one that smudges. Depending on the situation and who's going to be there will determine how I smudge them. If there are lots of people there to save my energy, I'll smudge them with a smudge stick. Or if there are people there that I'm not familiar with, I will smudge them with a smudge stick. If it's a small group and I know the small group, I will do it with my hands, simply because I feel more comfortable. If I'm going to smudge with my own energy, it's best for me and for my own protection to do people that I already have a good idea of how their energy flows and how it works. If I'm smudging people with a smudge stick and I come across somebody, a friend of mine, who obviously is having a really bad day and really needs to be cleared out really well, then I'll go ahead and I'll use my hands on them. But again, I have to kind of read the situation to figure out what's going to work best for everyone that's there, and especially for myself. When I am doing my own morning little routine thing, I smudge myself with a smudge stick. I start at my head, go down the body and everything like that. And then I picked up a thing from one of my mentors where I face each of the directions and I don't say anything. I just wave I just wave the smudge stick towards that direction and turn to the next direction. And I do that for all 4 of the directions, and then above and below. Don't know why I do it exactly. It feels right. It works for me. Still trying to figure out exactly why, but that's just what I do. If you ever want to give a try to the smudging with your hands thing, you don't need to have a Reiki attunement to smudge with your hands. I think it's a good thing to know how to do, especially if you're in a situation where you need to smudge yourself but you don't have access to anything to do it. The way that I do it is I start from the head, go all the way down, and I like to imagine smoke, enveloping the person that I'm smudging, and simply showing on myself. Start at the top. I keep my hands, in the military we call them knife hands. I just keep everything nice and extended and together because I feel like if my hands are spread out, it's just going all over the place and I'm missing parts and stuff's getting away from me. So I keep them together, knife hands. They're nice and straight and, nothing can get through them or anything like that. So I start at the top and I imagine pushing the smoke out of the way of the person. And so I'll work all the way down. I'll change my hand positions to go over different parts, and so it's comfortable for my wrists and my hands and everything. When I get down to the bottom, I usually touch the ground. It's kind of like a form of doing like putting a period at the end of the sentence is how I like to think of it. I just feel like it works better. I make sure that when I am at the front and I pull all that smoke down to their feet, I kind of form it into a little ball, and I pull it away and I put it into the ground. That way the energy is going somewhere. It's not going off to somebody else and making their day bad or anything like that. And just basically giving it back to Mother Earth so that she can do what she needs to do with it. Then I have the person turn around and I do the same thing along the behind them. Starting at the top, going all the way down, forming that little ball, putting it in the ground, and putting a period at the end of my sentence, basically. So I hope this makes up for the lack of a Monday video. Like I said, I'm still in Chicago. I wasn't planning on making a video this week until next week when I get back in San Diego. But I saw that, some crazy stuff's going on right now with the members of the Pagan Perspective, so I wanted to help out really quick. But I am going to leave you guys with that. I hope you have a great Monday. For those of you that went back to school today, have a good day at school, or you went back to school yesterday. I keep thinking today is Monday because now I'm saying it's Monday. It's not Monday, it's Tuesday, but we're pretending it's Monday. So I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you guys when I am back in sunny San Diego.